All right, welcome back to Chemical Man Podcast. I'm host Chris, and today I want to talk about line tracing. All right, so I know there's a lot of people that haven't had to do line tracing yet. A lot of people that have done line tracing. It can get confusing, especially if you're in an old unit that's got a lot of old lines in there they haven't taken out over the years and different things, and it can be hard. You're on a line, you're looking, next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute, where did it go? Or you're tracing a line, you think it goes somewhere, and then you have to backtrack on their stuff. So just take your time with line tracing. Some of the things that you can do from when you're doing line tracing, things that have helped me out over the years, even before they came out, but things that help me, especially at night. Night's the hardest, right? So night's the hardest. So I would have like a good flashlight, a good bright flashlight, LED, bright one that will shine up there so you can follow. I'd have a good laser pointer. You can't go wrong with a good laser pointer, especially if you're out there at night trying to show a maintenance guy or somebody that, you know, hey, I need to work on this control valve or something. You can shine the laser and show them exactly where it is. A laser pointer will help you a good thing. A good hard hat light. Get you a good light on your hard hat. They have the ones that go right around here. They have the big ones, you know. A lot of companies supply them where you work. They'll have the lights, put it on there, turn it on when you're out there catching your samples, doing your rounds. It is a lifesaver on that one too. Your P&ID drawings, all right? Your piping and instrument drawings, diagrams on there. Look at those. Take a 1 page of that, go out into the field and try to follow a line and say, okay, well, this line is supposed to go here. A lot of P&ID drawings should be up to date. Yes, there are some that are wrong. It happens. Haven't been up to date. Maybe a piece of equipment got taken out or added and they haven't had time to update it, but they're 99% of the time they're usually right. Look at your drawings, go from there. Okay, so I just drew a basic little scenario here with a couple of tanks and different things. So you have a tank here that comes off, the flow comes up to the pump, it goes up and it goes to a manifold, okay? If you don't know what a manifold is, one supply comes in and then you're able to line it up to multiple places on there. I know a lot of new homes have manifolds in them. I have a manifold in my house for my water. I can turn things on and off in different ways. It's pretty easy to figure out once you kind of just follow a line. That's why we're talking about line tracing today. Anyway, so I drew some tank. So the flow comes up the bottom of the tank, goes to the pump, goes to a manifold. Here I got 3 different places this flow can go, right? So you're going to get on the first one, you're going to follow, it goes back to the first tank. You got a valve there. If you need to go to the other tanks, it goes up to, you can open your valve, go up, flow, and then you have 2 more tanks I drew over here. Now, that one line right here can supply both those tanks. But out there in the field, you might have an RCV up here. And it's a valve that the controlman, who's ever working the board, can open and close. You can open and close out in the field too if you know how to do with the air and stuff. But really, you should let the person on the inside open and close that, right? So like right here, you can come to one tank, and then they can close their valve, or they can close their valve going to this middle tank, and then they can go to the third tank over here. So you have that too, right? And then you might have another line on it that comes off a pump and goes up and goes out to the unit over here, right? So I'm starting with the manifold just because it can be confusing to a lot of people, especially, you know, like, well, I see it come to the pump, but I don't know which way it goes. Especially if you have a long line to trace, and then you're trying to trace that off this one manifold. It can take a few minutes out there on that. What I suggest to do is start on your first one. Say if you're training, it's very good for training. Ask your trainer, whoever's training you, say, hey, show me where the valve starts and show me where the valve ends. And that way, if there's only the 2 valves in between, you can trace that line. It's easy to trace that line. Start here. Okay, this is valve A, and then he'll take you over. This is where it comes over here. So then it's your job to start here and follow that line all the way through to the next valve over there and train that way. I've done that multiple times in the past where say, this is where it starts, this is where it ends. It's your job to see how it gets here. And I'll know if you got it wrong or not, but it's your job to see how far it goes and gets there. Get your flashlight. Days. Heck, even on days, you're going to need a flashlight or a laser point because there's a lot of times that a lot of units, their lights might be off, they might be out. You know, it just some places are still dark even during the day because of the way they may have the structure set up on there. You know, you might be you might be on the first floor and the second floor might be concrete and it's still pretty dark under there. So still have a flashlight on that. I would just start with a line, Start with a pump and then work your way and see where it goes. And this is also important if you're brand new on the job, just got qualified, and you're out there working, you need to trace a line and you forgot. Man, just tell your person, give me a couple minutes, man. Start on your line. We'll go over. If you go to something scenario like this, you have 2 RCVs and you see it and he's not getting flow, ask your controlman, hey, open and close that RCV. I want to see if it moves. I want to see if it's lined up to the right spot. Open and close on there. Make sure your valves are in the right directions too on there for his flow. But the best advice really for line tracing is just get out there and do it. Just get out there, start, ask your trainer, say, hey, the flow starts from here, right? Yes, and it goes that way. Perfect. I'm going to start on this line and go from there. I know some plants like ours, we have different color lines. So like your cooling tower water lines usually going to be green. Your nitrogen's usually going to be a different color. So if you have your nitrogen line, it's usually going to be like an orange or a reddish color, whatever, depending on where they are. Hell, it might have been red at one time and faded over the years. So it just depends on where you're at, So those are going to be different color. Your process water lines are usually going to be a certain color in a lot of places. Your air, like a lot of our air lines are blue. So, on your utility station, what's what. You're going to, your steam's always going to be insulated. All the lines are pretty much insulated on there too. Another good thing too is if you find places on here that have insulation, write you a note. Write you say, okay, this valve right here sends it over to this tank, or this line goes to A unit, or this line is your flow in from the other unit. Write it on there. It doesn't hurt to write notes on lines. If you're able to get something where you can print out a sticker, a label, man, print that bad boy on there, slap it on. That way the next person comes behind you, and if he might not have worked the job in a while, he's like, oh yeah, this line goes this way because it's labeled here. As long as it's labeled correctly, there are times that are not labeled correctly, but follow that line. I highly recommend, like I said, investing in any one of these: a good flashlight, a good laser pointer, a light on your hard hat. Any one of those when you're tracing at night, that will help you out a lot on there too. And really in your P&ID drawings, just go from there. There ain't a whole lot really to talk about that. It's just, you really have to get out there and put your eyes on it, put your hands on it, and then look at that. Another thing too is if you're training and you go in there and say, hey, I saw that this line right here goes back to this tank. And if your trainer tells you no, it doesn't, don't argue with them. Don't argue with the people that have been out there 5, 10, 15 years. Just say, hey, I think I saw where it goes there. And then if he says it doesn't go, then ask him, say, hey, well, maybe I got confused. Maybe I traced the wrong line. Can you come help me? Show me where I got I got confused on there. Don't argue with the person that's trying to train you. That never works too. We've had that multiple times. I wouldn't suggest that at all on there. But just a little video out today just to tell people, take your time when tracing. Use these methods over here when you're tracing. Ask questions. Use your P&ID drawings when you can. Make sure you look everything. Make sure you follow the line. If you get confused, backtrack. You have to backtrack. Start from where you started again. Go back there. Start from the end. Work your way back any way you can do to make sure that you're on the right line on there. And especially if you start getting leaks in places like that and you're out there looking, man, start looking at everything, because we've had people come up to us and say, hey, well, that's your line. And you're like, man, that line's 20 feet that way. That's not our line. That's your line. That's your leak off your line. And they're like, well, we traced it over here. Well, you traced it wrong. Trace it again. And so you had to go out there and help them. And then, of course, they're like, yeah, we're sorry. We're on the wrong line on there. Anyway, y'all be safe out there. If you need help with your resumes or anything, let me know. Send me a text, email, whatever you got. Y'all be safe. And until next time, talk to y'all later. All right, bye.